Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it is Friday evening, which means it is time for us to be talking about coping with life. Oh, boy. Did I have to cope with life this afternoon? I was thinking about that song, What a Difference a Day Makes, and I'm going, what a difference half a day makes. As some of you will know, I was here at lunchtime doing my lunchtime broadcast about coping with feelings, where we discussed all sorts of relevant things to what's going on in my life. And for those of you who don't know, very big welcome to you. DearMamaSal is a group of people who get together 3 times a week and discuss our lives in general, in the hope that it will help other people be able to cope with theirs a little bit better. And, you know, I was talking all about things at lunchtime today and all the feelings that I'm having in the last few days before I go home. For those of you who don't know, back in September the 24th, I had a fire at my house, and I've been relocated for the last 6 months. And this week I'm going home. And so I was quite excited that after today's lunchtime broadcast, I went back to my house and I was going to see my finished shower, and the lights would be in, and all sorts of fun things like that. So, you know, there was part of me that was going, the little kid in me, that some of you know really well, the little kid in me was like, here we go. Yeah. Not quite my reaction. So let me try and think about this. What order should I do it? Should I tell you it? Would you like the good, the bad, or the ugly first? Because I realize that today I have a little bit of all of those for you. And the whole point that I want to discuss them with you is because this is a wonderful example of how coping with life requires a great deal of mental gymnastics and also sorting out what's really important to you and what isn't. So I'm going to give you that. How many of you remember the story about my freezer? You know how I'd saved up to get this big 15-cube freezer, how I'd spent time before the pandemic really got hold, filling it up with lots of meats and things, because I knew that the price of meat would escalate after once the pandemic started. And, and then how I kept it going all winter while they were doing the renovations. And then last week when I got there, it was empty. Obviously, somebody had turned it off and forgot to plug it back in again. And so when I got there today, I saw that the freezer was closed and plugged in. And I thought, that's good, because guess what? I've already bought the first batch of stuff to go back in it. I emptied out some of the stuff from my freezer here, ready to transport it over there. Well, that was the plan. Until I opened up the freezer and smelt the smell, and I quickly closed the lid again. Actually, to be fair, I closed it for a while just before I left, but before I left, I unplugged it and opened it up. Obviously, they had let it air, but they didn't wash it out. And so when they closed the lid again, that wonderful aroma of rotting meat managed to stay in there. How many of you are going, oh, nice, so just what you wanted to put your food in there, right? So I, first of all, made a little call and explained what I had done. And that pleased to get somebody out there to clean out that freezer properly. It needs to be washed with some disinfectant or something. I don't know what the right thing is to do, but I'm certain they do. It was just like, really? And so with that, I sort of gasped a bit, and I went, never mind, let's get on to the fun stuff. So I went to go and see my kitchen. No, not my kitchen. I did see my kitchen, but we'll get to that. So you want to see the shower? Because I was actually, did I take a big picture of this for you that I can show you on a bigger screen? Hang on a second. I don't think it's transferred yet, but I could be wrong. Wait a minute. It's not right. No, I'm going to do it on my camera for now. You will see it more later, guys, but this is that the best picture of it? Okay, I hope you can see this, guys, but this is the shower now, the bathroom. Can you see that nicely? So it went from a pokey little corner shower to a wall-to-wall shower. Now that's the good news. And I must admit that when I saw it, hang on a second, there's another picture of it here. The lighting's a little bit better on this one. Here you go. What do you think? So you see that I've put that L-shaped grab bar in there for, and the door will be this end, I hope. And I say that now then, that was the good news. All right, that's going to be there. And from that point onwards, things went a little bit south. First of all, you can't, as you can. This is not the shower. Let me see if I can find the shower head that I actually ordered. It wasn't that one. Hold on one second. It was just like, are you serious? Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find it here. Pretty certain I've got. Now, very luckily, I kept most of the communication I did about these things, I did in writing. Okay, so this is, okay, let's see if I can get that picture up somewhere. Dum, 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 dum. This is what I ordered. Can you see that rain shower? Can you see it's got a separate little hand shower to it? Don't you think that's very elegant? Okay, so what happened to it? There we go. So, and this is, oops, this is what I got. Now you don't want, you just don't want to know what I thought when I saw that. I'm going, this does not have my name on it, people. I need you to know that. Really. This has my name on it. And I was prepared to pay the extra to get that. And so, so when I saw this, I went, that does not make me happy. Okay, let's go back a bit now. All right, so the next thing was, okay. When I ordered the vanity, I had the choices between 3 different colors, one of which was white. That is not white. That is like a whitewashed cream. So I actually, I actually wrote to them and said, I actually ordered the white one. And they're probably going to say this is the white one. And I'm going, no, that isn't white. And there is nothing white about that. Anyway, so that was another sort of, really? You see, when you look at it, first of all, it all looks perfect, doesn't it? And then, hang on, it gets worse, people. In some ways, it gets worse anyway. Wait a minute. Oh, I've got to look in different places for those photographs for you. Then the next thing was, do you remember my talking to you about the fact that one of the things that I really wanted was my, waterfall shower? You guys remember that, right? Because I really love those waterfall showers. Well, here's the picture of the faucet for you. I took a picture of it to show you. There we go. Does that look like a waterfall shower to you? Now, to be fair, I quite like the wash hand basin. I'm prepared to go with the basin itself. That's quite modern, but it's just like a waterfall shower. It's a waterfall shower. I might still get that. At the moment, that's not my major issue. Getting the right equipment in the shower is, because that's a health thing. Anyway, so then I thought that's fine. You remember, how many of you remember the story about the light fixtures that they'd taken them down? And I was so happy because I didn't have to rebuy them. And then when I had to, went into the house, they were missing. So then I had to buy the new ones. I went in today, guess what? The old ones are still there. It's just like, okay, now I bought these extra ones and I don't like them as much as the original ones. So I'm going to have them put the original ones back. I ordered, now this might be difficult for you to see. I ordered flush mounted in the ceiling flat square light fixture for my laundry room. This is what's in there. Not quite the same, is it? And in every one of these things, I researched it, made sure it was available at the local Home Depot, took a screenshot of it. I've got it all in it. Oh no, believe you me. Believe you me, I did that. Everyone, I would do that. That's who I am. So not quite what I had imagined. Oh, I was talking at lunchtime about the mirror unit that I had this little shelf in front of it. Can you see that little shelf at the front? It was so useful. So for those of you who missed lunchtime, yeah, I did say square, Jody. That didn't look quite square to me. Plus, it didn't look very modern to me, whereas the square one looked really elegant. Yeah, that doesn't look square at all, does it now? So I'm trying to keep laughing because that's important. What else did I take pictures of for you? Oh, yes. Explain this to me. They put a whole lot of these really nice modern rocker switches in some of the places. And I don't, and in other places, they just left the old ones. Oh, Sandy's saying, oh, Sal, please make sure they fix all of this. I feel like they're just thinking she won't put up a fuss. Well, here's the good news, guys. You've known me longer, and I won't kick up a fuss. No. Yeah, hi, Leo. Yes, it is April Fool's Day coming up, and Jodie's birthday not so far away, I realized today. So anyway, so here's the thing. Why would they replace half of the light switches with those modern, put your elbow against it type ones, and the other ones they didn't? And by the way, the ones where they put in the fancy ones are not necessarily the ones where I need the fancy ones, but never mind, that's the way life is, right? So here are the original light fixtures, right? They look like that, if you remember. And then I got a picture of you of the new ones, which are nice. There's nothing wrong with them, don't get me wrong. Oh yeah, here we go. This is where you can see the difference. Okay, here are the two different light fixtures. You see that? The one on the one side is the rocker one where you can just put your elbow against it. And then the other half are all the old ones. Why? At least be consistent. Just like, seriously? Oh, here was another interesting thing. You do understand, last week was St. Patrick's Day, yes. In fact, a couple of days ago, only 2 days ago. Thank you, Black Magic. All right, so this is the new fan they put in my bedroom, which, I picked that one, so I'm happy with it. Only one problem. There is no way to turn the fan on from a light switch. You turn the light switch on, the light comes on, but I have no idea how you get the fan working. So I'm hoping that they will, because there's no hanging down thing. Normally with those things, you have a hanging down thing where and it turns it on. You have one on the other side that decides whether it's going to go one way or the other. Is there a remote? That's the question I asked, and I will be asking. By the way, I wanted to show you, can you see these two red things? One at the front, oops, and then one in the next room. I don't know if you can see that. See those red things? They've put fire alarms in every room at the back of the house. That's a good thing. I hadn't asked for that, but they have done that. Probably it's now up to code in terms of that. So that is good. Now, here's another little anomaly. My bedroom was part of the fire zone. All right. That it was like the fire was in my bathroom and the whole of that was destroyed. But then the smoke and water damage came into the bedroom. So they've repainted the whole house, except for two things. Number one, my sliding garage and barn doors on my wardrobe. I've got a very big double-size wardrobe that has these barn doors on it. For some reason, they have not repainted those. Does that make sense to you? Didn't to me either. So I have asked that question, and I will continue. By the way, just in terms of is it looking a lot better? You understand the blue stuff is stuff they put down over my flooring to protect it. But doesn't that look nice and bright now in there? I'm really quite happy with that. That's looking from the kitchen area through the craft room area into the bedroom. So I think that's looking quite light and bright. But don't know if you can see this. Do you see this cupboard? Right there. Now, those are the cupboards of my laundry room. And for some reason, they've painted the whole house, everything, except those barn doors and all the cupboards in my laundry room. Does that make any sense to anybody? Oh, yeah, here they are. These are the cupboards in my laundry room. Now, I was going to repaint them anyway because I wasn't particularly keen on the color, but it's like, why would you repaint the whole house and and not paint these things? I will be asking that question because I'm pretty sure it's meant to be done. So here are the new lights that I put in. Same sort of idea. Oops. Oh, that wasn't very good, so. There you go. Those are the new lights I put in. So what else? Oh, yeah. Now, here's another thing that went a little bit strange. These beautiful tiles. Let's go back to the good news, right? Let's go back to that one because we like that. Well, the only thing is that when I left there, I realized that I had to step down from the bathroom into the bedroom by about half an inch. So think about this. I'm an old fart, and there's a half-inch difference between my bedroom level and the bathroom level. How many of you going, that is a tripping accident waiting to happen, Sal? And by the way, would you like to trip? Would you like to trip into a bathroom with those tiles in it? Hi, Nolene. Good to see you, honey. Have you been here long enough to hear the nightmare? So it's just like, again, you're probably wondering, well, what have you done, Sal? For those of you who were at the lunchtime broadcast, I could hear your words in my ears very loudly. And as I locked up the house, Thanks, thanks, Rinsky. I'm pleased to hear that. It's Filipino-American Friendship Day. well, well, we're feeling very friendly. So for those of you who weren't at the lunchtime broadcast, I was asking the lunchtime group to help me think about the things I needed to do to keep calm because, I'm not expecting, I said I wasn't expecting things to go well in the next week, reality. And I was not wrong. It was a premonition. Anyway, so what I heard, as I locked the door, I could hear you guys say to me, and if necessary, so I'll go and get poutine. I did. I drove from my house to the nearest A&W and I bought myself poutine and I got some chicken strips with some honey mustard. And I haven't done that in 6 months. It was just like, I need this. This is not unhealthy at the moment. This is called survival. The next thing was I drove very carefully home. When I say home, to this place, I drove very carefully, made sure that I, didn't go too fast, didn't go too slowly, but made sure I was in the present. And then I came home, I dropped everything on the floor and grabbed the poutine and I sat there and I inhaled it. I didn't have a Mars bar, Pat. How nice to see you. Pat, did you see the picture, Pat? The good news one. And by the way, as you can see from the picture, the shower doors are not there yet, but they will be. And for those of you who've got a good imagination, the shower doors will be, hang on a second. Okay, if you can imagine this, the shower doors will be barn doors. They will be full glass, made to measure across that space, but they will be barn doors. You know what I mean? The type that roll. So they will match the ones in my bedroom. Not going to be ready for at least another week. And so, and as those of you who were here at lunchtime, you heard about the debacle about the mirror and everything else. So, quite honestly, now I've got to the stage where it just is what it is, right? Jody's saying today was the day. And I sure don't blame you. Survival kit includes poutine. Yeah, you're right, Jody. I'm not joking. I could hear you guys going, poutine day. It's fries with, it sounds disgusting. It's fries with cheese curds and then gravy on top of it. And it's very high in sodium, definitely not healthy, but it definitely is, for me, that's what it is, all right? Fries, and not crispy ones. They're like, soggy fries almost, with cheese curds on top. So when you pick them up, it's all stringy. It's like mozzarella cheese. It's all stringy. And then you've got, a really tasty gravy. And it's just like, you have to come, you are right, Drinsky, you have to come to Canada to try that. You can actually get it in the States, I believe. I'm trying to think, you have A&W, don't you? Because quite a few places now make poutine in the States. Or if you see somebody eating some, just ask them if you can try one. But I do need to tell you, Jody's saying we have a diner in our town that makes great poutine. Yes. So the main thing is, it's like a lot of things in life. Try it once. But the thing is it healthy? Oh, no. Fries covered in protein, cheese, curds. But then it's the gravy on top, which is also salty and so tasty. Really. If your best part of Christmas dinner is the gravy, you will understand this, all right? So Nolene's saying that when she's very stressed out, she eats ice cream. It has to be cheese curds. Yep, that's right. Not shredded cheese. No, it's cheese curds. But anyway, that's what I had for the first time in 6 months. Yay me. I was really proud of myself. And I went, this is not unhealthy today. Today it is survival food. It's it's really important. So how many of you can see that it was a little bit stressful this afternoon? And the good news was all the packages that Amazon was told to deliver next week, most of them have already arrived. Which is why I have to keep going. And I've got the parcels inside now, some of them. And I believe there'll probably another one be delivered tomorrow, and then maybe another one tonight. And then there will be, my mattress should arrive on Tuesday, maybe. And I need it to arrive early because I've got to undo it and let it grow. I bought one of those mattresses that is vacuum packed. So when you get it, you have to get it out of its plastic and then let it re-inflate, if you like. It's not an air mattress, but it's foam that's been, all the air's been sucked out of it. So you have to open it up and let it go. Sandy, for those of you who are not on the broadcast, I might watch this on the replay. Sandy's just said, it was either poutine or commit a crime. Sandy, you have my mentality. It was just like, I need to go get poutine. Because, and then when I got home, I need to not talk to any of the contractors for a little while. And now you've all known me long enough. What's the first thing I need to do before I start writing to anybody? Let's see how well you've learned your lessons. Before I react, what is the first thing I need to do? Other than eat poutine. Now, while you're answering that, I'm pretty sure you all know there's part of my mind that's going, what was the point of my spending all that time doing all that research and getting screenshots of everything I wanted? What was the point of that if they weren't going to take much notice of it? Yes, Jody's saying the first thing I needed to do was get control. And Jody said, and get coffee. Now, actually, I waited until now to have the extra coffee. I thought I was probably a little bit jittery from the coffee anyway, but I did need to get control. In other words, I needed to get off the emotion. I'm a great believer, do not write that until you've got your emotion under control, because it stops you from doing anything. By the way, the nice thing that I did was, you remember the one guy that did try to help me very early on, was very organized, and I couldn't tell him what I needed until the shower problem was sorted out, because he was the guy that was going to supply the tile. And I said to him, I need to make sure that they got all the right measurements and everything for you before they can tell you how much tile to get. So you can't order it yet, but thank you for trying. And he tried to do that back in January. I'm not joking, January, February. Anyway, but what I did is, once I got this picture today, one of the first things I did was to send that picture of the shower to the guy that helped me with the picking the tiles. Picking tiles over the internet with computer screens and everything else is not easy. So what I had to do was to tell him what effect I was trying to have. And I explained that I wanted a lighter tile on the floor, but a darker tile at the back. And that's exactly what he gave me. And that I wanted a matte tile, non-shiny, on the floor, because the shiny ones is a death trap. But it could be as shiny as he liked in the shower. And as you can see, very high gloss in the shower and matte on the floor. Not a matte, but matte, M-A-T-T-E. And so the first thing, I wanted him to see what his color choice looked like in reality. And it was so cute, because he wrote back to me almost immediately and said, that looks stunning. And I went, yep, well done. Thank you for all your help. I wanted you to see what it looked like. So Rinsky is saying, my house has burnt down, being rebuilt, and my dad bought my mother a watch for an anniversary gift, hid it in the garage. She wouldn't find it. Someone in the building crew stole it. So be careful. Well, you know something? There's not much left in the house for the building crew to take now. It's all was removed that first week. In fact, the first couple of days, they emptied the whole house. But thank you for thinking of that. But, you know, really, they did a great job of just emptying it all went into high security storage, Rinsky. And that was 6 months ago. Literally, the fire was on the 24th, and I think by the 26th, 27th, the whole place was empty, gone. It was such a strange, and it looked horrific because, you know, and I still have some of those pictures of where they pulled the ceilings down, you know, and you could see all the charred wood. Oh, it was just a frightening sight. And in fact, what I will do now, when I get a moment, is do some before and after for you so I can show you what that bathroom looked like. I don't have one of the bathroom before the fire, but I have one after the fire. And then this is what it now looks like. So do you know that this is to be expected? Agreed? It's not unusual for these things to happen. I was expecting this. I didn't expect so much in one afternoon, I must admit, but I was expecting it. And my point of view is this. I am not blaming anybody. You see, that's not the way to get things done. Well, the first thing I did while I was calming down was let me find the emails. Because you see, when I'm dealing with anything to do with contract work, I don't want it on a telephone call. I want it written in an email, and I can prove that they received it. Hi, Abby, good to see you. And so what I did was I hunted down the email where I asked for that particular shower hardware, you know, the rainfall shower, but also the handheld shower. And I found it was sent on February the 10th. Plenty of warning. And the funny thing was, I did a backup email over a week ago, to say to the main contracting guy, are we clear that the the hardware I asked for in the bathroom will be installed? And he said, whatever you wrote, Sal, it'll be installed. Guess what's going to happen now? They're going to install it for me, and not at extra cost, because I can prove that they got it. And I can prove that I checked on it 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and I was ensured that whatever I asked for would happen. And it's going to. But I don't have to get angry, do I? What I did was, because, you know, my sense of humor, I literally did. Hi, Sharon. Did you see the picture of the shower, Sharon? So what I literally did was I did the same as I did for you guys. I went, okay, this is what I ordered. Please refer my email to you on February the 10th. And then I said, and this is what I got. Not quite the same. And I don't in any way want to disparage Motel 6, but, you know, the difference was, you know, a 5-star type shower head as opposed to a Motel 6 one. So we're just like, yeah, right. Okay, Sharon, here we go. I think this is the... Okay, we got this far now, Sharon. Got my wall-to-wall shower. With no shower doors on it yet, because they're still on order. And that's with the light on, and then... Hang a second. And this is without the light on. Looks like that. Now, it looks pretty gray, because it is, but, you know, by the time I've got knickknacks and things in there, it will brighten it up. But I really like I really like the look of that. You know, it's like, that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be nice and clean and pristine. Now, Jodie's first comment, we all know Jodie is a mother clucker. And so Jodie's first comment was, now you need to get stuff on the floor so you don't slip. You see, she cares about me so much, doesn't she? And I said to her, Jodie, the very first things I took into the house last week were bath mats with solid rubber underneath them for that very reason, because I knew, even though those tiles were matte, I knew they would need that on them. By the way, can you imagine that with sort of dark gray bath mats on it? But what I also bought, because I think it'll look better, is white, fluffy, a long white, fluffy runner, because I think that would look magnificent on there. And can I afford to have that choice? Yeah, because I didn't spend a whole lot of money on it. I just went, okay, this is what I'm going to do, because I would like that. And I deserve that. So I can then mix and match, you know, if I want to, or I can play. All right, so you're happy now, Sharon, you got that? All right, so now Rinsky's saying, I'm glad you're a fighter. You think I'm a fighter? It's sad you have to fight sometimes to get what you paid for. Some builders are not honest people. Well, I'm dealing with some very ethical people who in turn are dealing with some people who probably think they can get away with this. Yeah, and Sharon's saying, do not make a final payment to the builders until everything on the final checklist is completed. By the way, did I mention the fact that that vanity is meant to be white, not cream? No, you're probably saying, but Sal, you could paint that. I could, but it's not what I asked for. But maybe it was, because they said, which would you prefer? And there was a gray one, and there was a black one, and a white one. I picked the white one. They didn't tell me it wasn't white. You know, it was just like, I picked the white one. It's cream. So, you know, you got to keep a sense of humor. So now what I'm doing is I am dealing with the main people, and I don't have to get angry. I don't have to get, quite honestly, the lighting people are getting up my nose a bit. They have not been helpful from the get-go. They were way too late getting hold of me to start with, and then they didn't want to go and do the shopping. And, you know, they wanted it all their way. And I'm going, your lack of planning has zip to do with me. It is in my mind. And so, no, I won't go to the store and buy all these things. Yeah, here's the list. Go get them. And then they said, but you need to go and get the bulbs. No, I don't. You're going to the store, get the bulbs that you need. You know, really. And then they said to me, oh, but for those of you who weren't on the lunchtime broadcast, you know, this mirror unit that I had in my bathroom before won't fit back because the new vanity is slightly higher. Probably it's got a backsplash on it or something. It's slightly higher than the old one. So now the whole of the mirror unit won't fit. Somebody didn't bother to measure all of that. Not my problem. And so now they're putting up a dirty grate. Don't worry, Sal, we're going to put up a big mirror. And I'm saying, well, as long as you frame it and make it look like a picture, I'll be happy. You know, I'm not going to complain if you frame it and it looks like it's meant to be there. But if you're just going to stick a piece of mirror on there, I probably won't be as happy as you would like. How many of you know I was about this far away from losing it this afternoon? Can you imagine that? It's just like, and every time I turned around, it was like, no, really? And then I don't mind telling you, with tears in my eyes, that part of me wanted to cry because I'm only a week away. They don't have a lot of time to fix things, which means that there's going to be a lot of frustration after I move in. And then I noticed things like in my bedroom, the cable for the television has gone. You know, it was very neatly tacked along the side of the floorboards, the skirting boards before, and it's gone. And I'm going, I hope they get that back. I wonder what they did with it. Not my problem, right? It's going to be their problem. Hello. You see, that's where the cable thing is, and that's where the television is. Where is that wire that you took off from there? So there is a very great possibility now that broadcasting from my house next weekend may not be a possibility, but I could be wrong. Whereas at lunchtime, I was pretty sure everything was going to be very copacetic, very good. I'm not quite so sure today. By the way, there's something else I wanted to show you, as long as you're willing not to judge it too harshly, because it was just like, you remember I said to you, one of the first things I would clean up would be the window area that you're used to seeing, when I open up the doors and go, oh, there you are. And behind me is that window area. Would you like to see what it looks like at the moment? It has become a dumping ground, apparently. So, it could take me a week to get that sorted out. So we may not be doing broadcasts from the kitchen immediately. Now, Sandy's saying, oh, I would be on them so fast. But you see, what I'm doing is I'm not getting angry, Sandy. I'm seeking information. For example, I worded it. Remember, this is not about it's not about getting them upset. We're going to be upset anyway. It's not about bogging all over them. It's about I tried to do it from a place of understanding. And I said to them, I'm pretty certain that you have already noticed that there is a 1/2-inch gap between the level of the bedroom and the level of the master bathroom. And whereas before it was flat. And I'm pretty certain you've come up with a plan B on that one. Could you possibly let me know what it is? Because it's like, anybody that has 1/2 inch rise from a bedroom into a tiled bathroom, it's a tripping hazard. And I'm old and todgery, and I don't want a tripping hazard. I especially don't want to pay for a tripping hazard. So come up with a plan, people. Now, I have no idea what that plan is. I'm thinking they're going to have to somehow or other make a, what do you call it? A slope of some sort that makes that possible, because just a regular, transition that you normally put in won't do it. And especially if I have a walker or something, they've got to think about the fact that thing's got to be as solid as can be, because I could end up with a walker trying to get up and down there. And that is, dangerous stuff. Jody's saying it seems like they aren't clued in on plan A yet. And, it's not my problem. And I think that is the interesting thing. If I have bothered to spend the time to show you what it is that is needed, I have a realtor who will definitely attest to the fact that there was not a single transition in that house. It was one of the things we looked for when I bought the house. Patty and I were very insistent. I need a house that doesn't have any transitions in it, because I could end up with a walker or push thing or a wheelchair even. And can I get from room to room without any problem? And so a graded transition would be needed, yes. Now, that's going to look pretty ugly, isn't it? But, what are you going to do? You can't lower the bathroom floor again, because they, for some reason, built it up that high. The other thing, I haven't got it on the list yet, but it's going on the list. Just a small little thing. Where is that picture for you? Because I want to tell you, I just kept taking pictures and going, Let me get a picture of that before I forget. And that's what I do. I just take pictures of things that I want to remember. Oh yeah, here we go. So this is how they installed inside that inside the vanity. Well, they got to fill that. You know, that is where critters come and go from a gap like that. Critters don't need that much space. So I want that filled with some sort of filler, you know, so critters don't get in. Now, am I being picky? I don't think so. No. And because guess what? It's going to happen. I'm trying to think. So we can do this. And what I've done is I wrote quite a nice starting email to the contractor guy and said, perhaps you can get me some answers on this. I know you didn't do it. I know other people did it. Perhaps you can get me some answers on this, and no problem. Jody's saying, it irks me that there was no communication about that rise in the floor. That is a huge deal. Yep. And I've got a feeling that the contractor, no, the main guy, you know, we've got two different people in control here. The insurance, no, you've got the insurance company, the insurance adjuster guy that sits in between the insurance and myself. His job is to keep us both happy. And then you've got the actual reno guy. All right, now the reno guy has people under him, and then the tradespeople are under that. So I don't have a problem with the top guy on the reno side. He's been very, what would be the right word? He's been very fair to me all along the way. Even his next in line has been very, very polite, very friendly, very understanding of all my needs, no problem. But you and I both know that contractors are another being altogether. And I don't think, you know, Sandy's saying, right, and it's the same with the freezer. They were hoping you didn't notice. I don't think so. You see, Sandy, you think the negative, and I don't. I want to tell you that I think somebody was told to clean out that freezer properly. That's what I believe. And somebody cleaned it out, but they didn't wash out the dead blood at the bottom. And that may not be because they thought I wouldn't notice. That would be because they just didn't think to do it. I don't think it necessarily was that they had it in for me. I don't think like that. I think it just wasn't cleaned properly, and these things happen, don't they? And I am pretty certain that when I actually phoned about that, because that is a health risk as well. And you know, that freezer should not be turned back on again until somebody had inspected it properly. And so somebody's going to have their butt on the line over this. Because it puts everything else back. They can't refill the freezer. And by the way, for those of you who went at the lunchtime broadcast, what they are doing is they took inventory of everything they took out of my freezer, however moldy it was. They took inventory of that, and they will be replacing everything at their cost. It won't affect my insurance. That's their cost. And a mistake was made. And I'm not particularly worried because companies insure themselves against that sort of thing happening. So, you know, that's part of an insurance claim on their side. So, but do you understand, Sandy? I don't have to think that somebody didn't think I would notice. Do I think somebody took a shortcut? Absolutely. But I don't think I'm not paranoid. I don't think that they had it in for Sal. I think that whoever it was didn't do a good job. There's a difference, in my view. By the way, do I believe that the top guys would want that to have happened? Absolutely not. So somebody's, you know, nuts are in a vice here somewhere over that cleaning of that freezer, because that's a waste of time. I am pretty certain that whoever that guy that got my email about that shower hardware stuff, and I am certain he forwarded that email to his contractor, right, down to the trades, he would have said, this is what she's looking for, because I needed a quote first. This is what she's looking for, and it should include this hardware and everything, right? Sent the whole email over. I'm pretty sure that's what they did. Guess what? They missed the last part of the email. Doesn't mean I didn't ask for it. And that's what they were told to quote on. You know, and they gave me a quote. So, you know, to me, it's like, I don't need to get angry at anybody. I just need to get it fixed. And that's not my stress. Am I making sense here? But the good news, everybody, is I have most of it documented. Right? And that's what I'm trying to make sure that you understand. Whenever you're dealing with things that could come back to haunt you, make sure you do it in writing. Do not do it over the telephone. I'll even have people phone me and start to have one of those sort of conversations with me. And I'll go, hey, it's really difficult for me to hear over the phone. Why don't you send me an email? And you know why? I want it in writing so that I can reply in writing and I can prove what instructions I gave you. You see, over a telephone, I cannot prove that, but I can in writing. And for moments like this, right? For moments like this, it was a pretty stressful afternoon. I don't mind telling you. But overall, I was really happy with most of it, but I did start to have a little meltdown. I don't mind telling you that. But, you know, I think they're going to be more. And this is not the end, because that's not life. The other thing I kept reminding myself, now think about this one. Do you think that they're used to things going wrong? You know, the main guys, are they used to contractors taking shortcuts that they shouldn't have done? Are they used to the fact that somebody didn't read the whole email or whatever? Yeah. So I don't need to be too worried about that. That's their problem to fix, not mine. Do you understand the difference on that one? It's like, I do not need to waste my energy fixing those problems. I need to tell them I'm not a happy camper, and I don't need to be angry at them. I just need to tell them, wow, this is what I ordered, guys. It's square. This is what I got, and it's round, and it's ugly. You know? Can you get it fixed for me, please? And I've got it. And by the way, that whole lighting document, I did in a huge spreadsheet on Google Sheets. I've got it on the cloud. I can prove this is exactly, and here are the pictures. I took pictures of everything I wanted. It's going to be a long fight. But again, listen to me again. The most important thing for these people is to get this file closed. They want me back in my house, get me sorted and out of there. Hi, Jonas, good to see you. They want that file closed as soon as they possibly can. And there's only one way they're going to get the file closed, is that they make me a pretty happy person. Not totally happy, that would be unrealistic, but pretty happy person. Makes sense? So Jody's saying, you did a great job at processing the emotion and getting down to business. So there wasn't any unnecessary waste of time or even more stress with prolonging it by fuming. Absolutely. And if you can see that I needed to spend the time, the place I spent the time was right at the beginning. I needed to calm down before I started to get things under control. The only thing I did make a call on was that freezer, because that needs to be cleaned and going by early next week, because it needs time to get up to freezer level so I can put stuff in it. Life is never as easy as we would like it to be, and that's okay. It just is what it is. And I think if you can remember some of the quotes that we've been talking about this weekend, remind yourself that you are in control of your feelings, your thoughts, and your life. I cannot change what has already happened. However, I need to make sure that I don't overwhelm on my reactions to the things that have happened. That is what coping with life is all about. Stuff is going wrong. The wheels are coming off. But it's not my job to overstress about it. That would be a total waste of energy. My job is to just be aware that this isn't what I asked for. This isn't what I've paid for. And therefore, I wonder if you'd be good enough to help me get this fixed. And that is really the whole point of what we do here, right? Is to give you these real life situations and show you that you've got choices on how you react to them. And I said at lunchtime, and I want to repeat it, that when you control your thoughts and emotions, you control everything. If I start to bog all over the main guys that are in charge here, that'll put them under more stress than they need. I need them to know I trust them to get this fixed. Can you feel the difference in that? Hey, guys. It looks like life happened, not quite the way we planned. Therefore, I just want to make you aware that this has happened. This is the square thing I asked for. This is the round piece of shit I got. Could you, and in fact, I haven't even told them all the stuff about the lighting yet because I need a bit more time to process that. And I will word it as best I can. How about this one? Use disappointment and frustration to motivate you rather than to annoy you. Be mindful. You are in control of the way that you respond to life. All right. So the most important time I could spend today was on getting control of myself. I don't want to punish anybody. I honestly don't believe, Sandy, that anybody is out to get me. And by the way, if anybody was stupid enough to think, oh, well, she won't make a fuss, that's their right to believe that. The difference is I will just get what I believe I deserve. All right. And will I get it all? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, before we go on, I just want to make sure one more time that you all understand this whole insurance game. And I say insurance game because it's important that you understand. Okay. I actually did pay for full replacement value on everything and my insurance. So we're going to call that RV, replacement value, okay? And then they have what they call global value, and I'll explain that in a moment. And then they have what they call cash value. By the way, cash value is 50% of whatever you think you've lost. That's that they call the cash value, based on the fact that some of it is older than others, So that's their starting point. They know I'm not going to accept 50%. Now, because I paid the top premium, I am entitled to real value. In other words, there's 64 pages of things that I very carefully researched, found out what the current value is and everything. I am entitled to get that. However, to get it, I would need to systematically buy every single thing that is on that list, even if I don't necessarily want it. Makes sense? Plus, I would need to show receipts and show pictures of everything that I bought. In other words, it's an administrative nightmare. And they know that. So what they come in with, that's 100%. Okay. So what they come in with is something called a global value, where they say to you, look, Sal, we know it's probably worth more than 50%. We know you probably don't want to go through the nightmare of the 100%. So how about we offer you 75%? And 75% says, we agree on 75%. Save all the paperwork on both sides, save all the time on both sides, suits us, suits you. Hello, here's 75% depreciation. I mean, it's 25% depreciation on the total, and we're done. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, could I insist on going for 100% and spend the next year rebuying everything, improving it? Yep. The question is, why would I? And they know that. They know that nobody needs that in their life, especially after 6 months of being out of my home. And I've, talked to a couple of people I trust on this one, and I've said to them, my gut is just to do the obvious thing, which is to go for what they want me to go for, which is the global, and let it be. However, I'm not going to do that in a hurry. I am not going to let them close this file in a hurry, because I need time to work out what's really missing. And I don't think I will know that until I lie in bed and go, the earbuds. I didn't see any mention of the earbuds. I know I always kept next to my, two sets, I always kept next to my bed. So I'd have one that I could plug in to my tablet if I needed it, whatever. I know I had 2 sets, and I didn't see any mention of them. And those sort of things I'm only going to find out when I go back. And I'm going to give myself time, knowing that they're going to push for me to close it as soon as I can. But on the other hand, I have control. I get to choose when I close this. And I think I've got up until 2 years if I really wanted it. They won't like that. But if I really needed it, I have quite a bit of time. They might come back and say, we need it closed within the year. That would be fair enough. But I think if I went the 100% route, I'd have 2 years in which to rebuy everything. So do you all understand that this is not them ripping me off? This is the way that insurance works. And so whenever you buy insurance for anything, you need to make sure am I paying for replacement value, or am I paying for replacement value less depreciation? Make sure you know what you are paying for. And again, I would remind you, if you pay bottom dollar, you won't be getting much back, right? Because the system is designed to work in the favor of the insurance companies. I've always said that they will pay as little as they can and as much as you will accept. That is true. On the other hand, I don't need to be fighting this longer than I have to. Makes sense. Why? It's not good for my health, quite honestly. So I want to get this done. They want to get it done. And the trick is, can we come to a happy medium somewhere? I believe we can. So I've got quite a lot still to look at. I'm looking at it and saying, is this fair? Is what is happening to me fair? What do you think? Is it fair? Or do you believe that people are intentionally trying to hoodwink me? I really want to remind you that if you think that way, you will treat people that way. Do I think it is human nature that some of those tradespeople, it's not a big job for them, so they want in and out of there as fast as possible? Yeah, I understand that, but that's not what I paid for. So I might not want to deal with that electrical guy, that lighting guy anymore. I might say to them, hey, bring me a lighting guy for a day and let him get this sorted out the proper way. Because obviously your guy doesn't want to do it the right way. Right? And by the way, if I get nasty, who pays the price? I think everybody pays the price if I get nasty. I don't need to get nasty to get what is right. I don't think so. I don't need to be rude to people. You understand, if I start being rude to people, they have control of me. I don't want to be rude to people. I just need to get what is right. And I will. So I look at it and go, life is a little bit difficult. And when you understand that life is a little bit difficult, Do you understand that it changes how you deal with things? And that's what I really keep trying to make sure you understand. This is not about anything other than I want to keep myself under control. I decided that today I'd also, because it's spring this weekend, the spring has sprung, the grass is riz, I wonder where the birdies is, was a famous quote by my mom. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about fashion. Did you know that on average, we buy 3 times more clothing than we did back in the 80s? 3 times more. Fast fashion and consumer habits have led to an increase in the amount of clothes entering landfills. Roughly 44 million pounds of clothes were thrown away in the Metro Vancouver area alone. 44 million pounds of clothing just in the Metro Vancouver, British Columbia area. All right. So here is what I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about. When you meet somebody or when you see me online, what piece of clothing do you really look at first? When you meet somebody, and there's a reason why I'm asking you that question, because it's been my belief always, and not when I'm trying to deal with a fire and I have a limited wardrobe, but the place where I spend my money is on my pants. All right. I will buy good quality pants or trousers in England because I want them to last a long time. Very important. However, I can keep the less expensive things, the tops. Now, this is actually something I've had for a long time. And if you notice, this is a color that quite honestly will go through the ages, all right? It's not a fashion color of this year or any other year. So therefore, it's going to probably stay in fashion. It'll never go out of fashion. It's what they call a classic. And what I want you to think about is most people look at you from the top of your head to your waist. That's where when they look at you, that's what they see. They might, in the peripheral vision, realize you're not wearing a dress, you're wearing trousers, but that's about it. They're not meticulously looking at your trousers. So remember this when you're buying clothes. Spend the money on the waist down because those are the clothes you want to be able to wash a lot or, repeat over, and buy colors that mix and match well. When I buy trousers, I buy blacks in different sorts of textures. I will buy browns, a couple of browns, and it's obviously lighter colors for the summer. The next thing is you don't always have to buy new tops. You could have a classical top like this one and maybe accessorize it with this year's in colors. By the way, does anybody know what this year's spring colors are going to be? They normally announce it 6 months ahead of time. Does anybody know that? Because if, for example, we know that this year's spring color is going to be fuchsia, or whatever, I'm going, this is not going to go with fuchsia. So I will retire this for the season and then go back to wearing, blacks and grays, but then maybe buy a fuchsia scarf because that's the in color. I don't have to buy fuchsia clothes. I just need to accessorize if I want to stay in fashion. Or I need to buy jewelry that emphasizes the fashion. Make sense? So this is going to be especially important to us because we're going to be trying to make our dollars go a lot farther this year. Any comment on that? I also want to remind you that today's fashion will date you tomorrow. And, think about that. Whatever today's fashion is, it will date you tomorrow. So if you are somebody that constantly follows the fashion trends, it is a very expensive way to buy things. Jody, thank you. Jody is saying bright yellow is the color of the season. Yeah, and that's perennial, all right? I think every spring, yellow is in. And sometimes orange comes in. If you think spring flowers, then you've got a pretty good idea. So bright yellow, the Pantone color. Yes, excellent. So to buy anything in the bold yellow range this spring is a good idea. But as I said, what if you have a white top with that bold yellow as a scarf? Or you have, any of the spring colors as scarves, it will look springtime. And that white top will last you to spring and summer. And then whatever the summer color is, which will be a deeper shade of that in some ways, then that will keep you in fashion as well, if you want to be a fashion person. Now, if you want to know how expensive fashion is, how many of you remember the 70s? Do any of you, other than myself, date back to the 70s? You see, the fashion industry made an absolute killing in the 70s. For some reason, in the 70s, they convinced not only women, but men to totally change their wardrobe. If you think about it, we were wearing oranges and we were wearing tie-dye stuff and we were wearing suddenly skirts that went down to our ankles and we were wearing, flowers in our hair and all those sort of things. But the men were wearing shirts with long collars. They were wearing plaid suits. They were wearing orange suits and they were wearing brown. It was just tangerine. Men were wearing tangerine. It was just amazing the colors that men were wearing in that sort of orangey tan type range. And as I said, the long collars and all those sort of things. But yeah, Jody's saying those long collars bring back memories, and almost the Hawaiian shirt type thing came back, right? But it was in oranges. So you look at it and you go, how long did it last? I'm not sure how long that orange phase lasted for. But it wasn't more than 5 years, I wouldn't think. So now think about it. They've got every single male that was hip to buy this complete wardrobe of horrific, and when I look back on it now, horrific clothing. And within 5 years, they got to completely rebuy their wardrobe. Do you think the fashion people, the clothing people made a lot of money? And by the way, if you think about it, we went from the mini skirts of the 60s. I believe I remember those because I had the legs that went all the way up to my eyebrows in those days. We went from mini skirts down to skirts down to our ankles. Now, that's quite a big fashion change. But guess who made a lot of money? So the point that I have in this is be aware, is this a fashion color I am going to want to wear for a long time? And if it isn't, don't spend a whole lot of money on it, right? Yeah, do what you need to do to stay in fashion if that's what you want to do, but don't spend a whole lot of money on it. The same thing, how many of you remember the stiletto heels of the 70s? In the 60s, we had platform heels. And then we went into stiletto heels, I think. Anyway, so you understand, shoes change, another huge, huge moneymaker. And then how many of you have noticed that then suddenly purses became the new money item? Now suddenly you're spending $2,000 on a purse. And hello? Somebody is making a lot of money. And by the way, it's just a purse, Now, I wanted to give you a tip as well about buying stuff. I think, as you know, I am buying a lot of stuff at the moment, trying to replace stuff. Isabel's saying, I can't stand white socks showing, and it's coming back. I don't know why. My mommy always said, don't trust a man who wears white socks. I have no idea why that came in. If anybody knows, let me know. So here I am doing a lot of shopping on Amazon. Here's the trick that I found. And by the way, this is, if you happen to be on a budget, this is a really interesting way to spend money on Amazon. I window shop all month. All right. I see something and I go, oh, I wonder if they've got that on Amazon. Yes, they have. Okay, let me order it up. And what I do is I put it into my cart. And then at the end of the month, I know what my budget is for Amazon. And I look at it and go, okay, how much of this do I really need? Not what do I want, but what do I really need? And then what I do is I drop it from my cart into, there's an option where you can click a button and it goes sometime later. And so it'll take it out of your cart and put it below. So the next time you go shopping, you can choose to add it to your cart. Hi there, Erin. Good to see you, honey. And big hugs to you. I know you've had a difficult week as well, so hang in there. Oh, bell bottoms. Yes. See, there's another one. Bell bottoms, huge fashion item, didn't last long. Also in the 70s, right? Or was that the early 80s that we had the bell bottoms? No, we had the bell bottoms. They came at the same time as the orange clothing, I seem to remember. Nice from memory. Thank you, Kimmy. So today, oh, and Sharon's saying that she does the same thing on Amazon, right? Put it in the cart, but don't check it out. When you go to actually buy, go through the cart again and go, can I wait another week for this? And if the answer is yes, drop it down. But do I really need this week? Yes, leave it in. No, Kimmy. Kimmy's saying, I didn't like the orange, yellow, and green of the 70s. We did at the time. Those of us who lived it, we did at the time. I can remember I had the wardrobe, believe you me. Because I was quite a fashionista in my day. That's changed. So it's funny, isn't it, how these things do change. But what I wanted to remind you of is that if you dress for your own fashion sense, not for somebody else's. That's a good point, Jody, right? And the appliances, they did the same thing with the appliances. Can any of you remember the avocado green stove or fridge? And yes, we even had I seem to remember the avocado green. The polyester suits, yes. Think Smokey and the Bandit, I think. Yes, Erin's saying she does the same thing with her Amazon card, but half the stuff she doesn't end up buying. And I do the same with Wish. If any of you buy things on Wish, I will buy, put it all in the basket, and then once a month I go with the budget and go, okay, what do I want? And I just, knock off a whole lot of things. By the way, if it's been in there 3 times, I normally end up buying it, because I reckon if 3 times I've said I wanted it, then maybe I do. How many of you can understand, in terms of coping with life, that this, I want to say trauma that I'm going through this week, has had an effect on my ability to do my walking? Okay, what's happening? Sharon's saying we would split the seam, the legs of our jeans, and then sew in a piece of fabric to make the flare extra wide. Isn't that amazing? I remember doing that as well. Yes, and the peasant blouses. Yes, the off-the-shoulder peasant blouses. Remember that as well. Isn't that amazing that you all have these memories? See, that's my job. But they were fun times, people. I don't look back on the 70s and go, oh, that was a rotten decade. I go, 70s. And no, I wasn't into drugs or anything, but wow, the 70s, they were fun times. And you know, it was like, boy, we danced a lot and got into a lot of trouble, but yeah, it was fun. So I have to admit that my ability to walk this week has been hampered a little bit. For example, today I've only done 2,300 steps, and I aim to do 8,000 a day, and I am only at 23, and it is, you know, 8:30 in the evening. So, you know, to get in the extra steps, hang on a second, let me see what the reality is of that, because that's important that I see that. Hang on one second. I've got this calculator that I've done, that I made for myself. Hold on, I just want to get it up so I can tell you the truth. But I say I've done 2,300. All right, so, all right, for me to catch up. Okay, things are just definitely not going my way today, the way that they were, but I can handle it. I am under control. Breathe. Not personal. Better not be. Here we go. Okay, so for me to catch up, I would need to spend another 48 minutes this evening walking. Is it possible to do? You know, is it possible to do? Yes, it is. It would mean that when I get off the broadcast, instead of relaxing, that I actually put on my new trick now is to put on a movie that I want to watch or binge watch something. But instead of sitting on the couch watching it, I stand and I walk and watch it. And quite honestly, 48 minutes goes by pretty darn quickly. Or what I will do is do half an hour, cook a meal, eat the meal, then do another half hour. So it is doable, but it requires that I continue to make it important. Kimmy's updating us on the health of her pup. She says the pup's doing well. I'm glad to hear that. So do you understand that keeping this marathon a week going is a mind matter as much as anything? I have to make the time to do it. All right? It is not, do I have the time? Because I choose what to do with my time. Therefore, if I want to continue to do a marathon a week, that's 8,000 steps a day, I need to make that time available. However that is, I need to drop something that wastes time. And boy, I don't know about the rest of you, but I have quite a few choices on that one. So as I go into my 4th week of attempting to do a marathon, I have 3 of them under control. And this 4th week, I have until midnight tomorrow to keep and make it up. I think I can do it. I can do it if I make the time to do it and I stop giving myself excuses. But I don't mind telling you, it's been a struggle this week. Mainly because I've got so many other conflicting tasks. So now it requires that I make myself a high priority, even though I don't want to. I want to make my home the high priority. But if I want to do the steps, I've got to make myself that priority. All right, Erin is asking, does anyone know of a device or app I could use to track my sleep? I guess tracking my food wouldn't be so bad, but I mainly need it for my sleep. I know I'm probably not getting enough. Any fitness watch will these days, Erin, you can buy it for $50 at Walmart. You know, they literally you can pick it one up for $50 on Amazon. Just check that they have a sleep function to them. All right, and Kim is saying, I did get my shot, but I didn't turn into a zombie. Yes, and I was saying at lunchtime today, wasn't that kind of America to send us 1.5 million shots of AstraZeneca back to Canada? Just because you guys don't want it, you think we do? Like, hello. I don't know why that cracked me up. And my sister has had hers. She had the J&J one. So I still think that I will get on that list pretty soon. That's my feeling, is that I'm pretty soon going to be on that list to get it. But well done for getting your shot, Kimmy. I'm happy for you. Question of reality is that you can close your eyes to something you don't want to see, but you can't close your heart to something you don't want to feel. And I want you to think about that as much as I wanted to be under control today, can you imagine that when I saw these things that were wrong in my house, my heart dropped a little bit? All right? My heart dropped a little bit. It wasn't quite as happy little thing as it was when I was lunchtime today. And then it's my job to pick up my heart and get on with my life, all right? It's that, no, I allowed my heart to drop. I totally get that. Sandy's saying, I was talking to my nurse about that today, the AstraZeneca. I'm thinking, no, I don't want that one. That's what I thought as well. You know, you can keep them, America. Erin's saying, okay, thanks. I just didn't know they would be that cheap. And I wasn't getting an expensive one just to track my sleep. Jody, I sent Jody has one of the $50 ones. I think it's $56 or something in Canadian. And Jody, how well does it track your sleep? Yeah. So but Amazon has good deals as well. So whichever you prefer to shop at. You know, it might be difficult for Erin because she's bedridden to do the Walmart route, but maybe she can get somebody to pick it up. But I, quite honestly, Amazon has those ones as well. You got the Moderna one. Okay, Kimmy, that's good to know. And you go back on April the 14th for the second shot. I like this quote, and it says, your feelings are valid. You know, my feelings of being my heart dropping today were valid. You have every right to feel whatever emotion you want. You aren't being dramatic. You aren't over-exaggerating your feeling, and that's okay. But remember what we say in the feeling broadcast, which is it's okay to feel, just don't hang on to it, right? I can let my heart drop for a second, but boy, I control how long I stay in that mood. That's my job, is to fight my way out of that feeling and get on with my life. So what I want to stop doing is feeding my feelings. Do you understand? I don't want to be around people who are going, oh, you poor thing, you know, that's so sad that they're doing that to you. That's all victim stuff. I don't want to think like that. See, what I want to think is I am going to just let people know that it's not right and they'll fix it. I don't have to scream and shout and throw a hissy fit. I just need to know, hey guys, in case you didn't know this, at the moment there is a 1/2-inch gap between the level of my bedroom floor and the bathroom. And you know the way I word things, which is, you don't want to see me trip on that, do you? Trip going from my bedroom to the bathroom and trip into a tiled bathroom floor. I'm pretty certain you don't want that. Why? Because I would be suing you. I didn't say that, but they know that. So it's like, you know, you may want to get that one fixed. And so I look at it and go, life for me at the moment is a monumental lesson. You see, I choose to see every day as a sort of an exam, if you like, on how am I doing with controlling my emotions. And I forgave myself for having a little moment this afternoon. And I'm going, I think anybody would have had a little moment. You know, I don't think I'm weak or miserable or pathetic because of it. I think I'm just a human. And just like, really? Did they think that was square? Doesn't look square to me. How about this one? Impress yourself. Show yourself that you can grow and get better. It's never about competing with others in the end. It's just you versus you. All right? So I forgave myself and said, what do I need to cheer me up right now? Poutine sounds good. I could hear you all saying to me, go get some poutine, Sal. And I did. By the way, I haven't taken my blood glucose, but we will find out. And you know, if it's a little bit high, I'm not going to hassle it. So be it. How about this one? Your intellect may be confused. Your intellect may be confused, but your emotion will never lie to you. So when I felt that sadness in the house today, it wasn't wrong. It was sad. And it was okay to be sad in that moment. Why? It wasn't what I was expecting. My expectations were better. But it's still my responsibility to get it back under control. So to me, we just need to remember we control the life that we live. Never regret being a good person. I like this. This is a nice quote. Never regret being a good person to the wrong people. Your behavior says everything about you, and their behavior says enough about them. So when I have this happen, I am doubly aware that how I choose to deal with it is if you like, it's a billboard of my character. If I turn into a screaming, raving idiot, you know, from my experience, people don't necessarily value that. All right? I've tried to make sure that every contractor that has worked on my house and done a good job on any small thing, I will take the time to write and thank them for it. You know, I didn't have to write to the tile guy to thank him for his choices that he helped me make. But I did because I thought it was important for him to know that it might have been a very small tile job to him. And I said to him, it was a small tile job to you, but it meant the world to me. I want people to know that their decision in helping me, that yes, it took a little bit of time, but I really, really appreciate it. It meant the world to me. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind stuff, right? And so I look at the guy who did the paint and had to redo some of it. The paint is looking awesome, people. I am so glad I made those choices. So glad I made those choices because it really does look so clean. Hang on a second. Have I got any pictures of the paint? So yeah, so I'm going to show you this, but if you notice that even the white against the pale gray against, and then the dark gray in the far bedroom there, ignore the blue on the floor, that's covering of the flooring. It's all looking like it's meant to be, right? And it's bright and it's light and it looks good. And I like the contrast walls. And I've got this is the contrast wall in the spare bedroom, for example. All right, so again, it's clean and crisp. So I look at it and go, did I make perfect choices? No, I didn't necessarily. But are they choices that I can live with? Yes. Here's something else that was really strange. They painted everything beautifully, and then for some reason, the front door jamb is a mess. And it looks like they've already painted it, but, it'll be on my list. So, right? What if every day there is somebody up there, which I believe there is, watching our behavior and going, did you handle this with class? That's a word we don't hear very much of these days. Did you handle it with class or did you act like an idiot? And Jody's saying, you've done all this during a pandemic. Difficult to say, at least, Well done, Sal. Thanks, Jody. But you know what was difficult, Jody, was I've had to do this all with the internet. All right. And I agree with you. Because of the pandemic, I have needed to do a lot of this, making choices on the internet. And the few bad choices that I have made on things, I went, can you live with it? And if the answer is no, then you're going to need to rebuy something. And if the answer is, hey, I can live with it until I can afford to redo it, then that's fine. You see, happiness is letting go of what you think your life is supposed to look like, and appreciating for everything that it is. So for all the errors in my home at the moment, of which there are not really that many, but there are quite a few, what if I let them all go and say, if I walked into that house today as it is, with the errors, would I still go, wow, that is a pretty house? You see, that's what I look at as well. So it's not about I have to have everything fixed. It's like, what do I want to have fixed? And I could say, for example, I don't particularly like the faucet in the master bathroom, but could I live with it? Yep. But the next time I need to bring a plumber in for something, you know, I'll say to him, by the way, bring me this faucet because I'd like to have that installed. You see, it's about do it on your own time. You can't control other people, but you can control your reactions to them. That is character. What is your character? Do you treat people badly? And do you treat them from a place of being a victim, or do you treat them from a place of being a victor? Can you see I've got those choices coming to me right now? Right? I don't have to get angry. I just need to go, guys, nice try. I'm certain you didn't intend it, but boy, that did not work out quite the way we meant it to. So we need to do a little bit of a recap on this. And I'm going to try and keep my sense of humor and do it from that place, because that's who I'd like to be. I don't want to be the screaming banshee. And I have done in my past, by the way. I had some pretty bad role models of the way to treat people. And I don't want to do that anymore. I really do believe that I can get what I need to have done without being rude to people. How about this one? Mark and Angel said, don't start your day with broken pieces of yesterday. Begin again. Every morning, we wake up to the first day of the rest of our lives. I really do want to remind you, I do not believe that people wake up in the morning and go, how can we stick it to Sal? I really don't believe that. But I do know that my job probably wasn't high on the list of anybody because it wasn't that big. It's $100,000 worth, but what if they're also busy dealing with a 250 million type deal at the same time? You know, I'm not going to be the highest on their priority. Doesn't mean I shouldn't get what I deserve, and I will. And Jody is saying, one of the most precious gifts you have given me is realizing I needed to change my turnaround time to protect my emotional health. Yeah, don't instantly react to things. You can, but do that in private. You know, I've always said to people, you can think whatever you like, but be careful before you open your mouth. You know, get control before you open your mouth, or before your fingers hit the keyboard. You know, get control before that. And I also like to think, what if I actually loved this person? How would I deal with it then? And, you know, that's what I found I did when I was writing to the under contractor guy. I went, I think you know enough about me already just by my choices I've made that this shower head is not high on my list of things I was, you know, lusting after. You know. On the other hand, this one that I ordered, yeah, you know, the rain shower with the modern, yeah, that's what I was going for. I understand that whoever it was that put this in, maybe they like that little pathetic little shower that should have been in the Motel 6. Not my idea of fun. I would rather pay the extra. And by the way, one of my sons, way back when, actually said to me, upgrade your shower head to a rain shower head and I will pay the difference. Wasn't that nice of him? It's Cisco said that to me. So I probably won't even ask him, but it's like, I knew I had that possibility. How about this one? When you start to live your life in a manner that fulfills your positive inner self, what people think or say about you would never control your feelings and emotions again. I want to be proud of the way I go about this. I don't want to be embarrassed by the fact I lost my temper or I got snarky or whatever. And by the way, if I can't control it and I do get like that, I want to have the character to apologize and say, I am sorry, I lost control, and I'd like to apologize for that. How about this one? The only people who will get upset about you setting boundaries are the ones who are benefiting from you having none. That's so true. I found that it's really interesting when you set a boundary. Some people go, oh, I can go with that. And others will go, ugh, yeah, that's weird. Why are you telling me I can't do this to you anymore? And I'm going, because I've learned what a boundary is and I really need you. Mind you, you get to choose. I can ask you not to do it anymore, but you can choose whether you will go with that or not. How about this one? A picture creates a feeling. The pictures on your wall are controlling your mind. The pictures on your wall are telling you what to think. Pictures decide your conduct. So it's the same thing as what you tell yourself. If you really believe that people are out to get you, you will prove yourself right. And that's the scary part, I find. And, my favorite guy, Stephen Maraboli, said, I promise you nothing is as chaotic as it seems. Nothing is worth diminishing your health. Nothing is worth poisoning yourself into stress, anxiety, and fear. So do you understand that between this is so exciting, I'm going to see my shower to, my goodness, smell that freezer, oh my gosh, and look at the light, and, all these things, I then promised myself that although it feels like the wheels have totally come off, it's small stuff. My house is safe. I am safe. I have got a lot of things done that I wanted to get done. You see, nothing is worth diminishing your health. Nothing is worth poisoning yourself into stress, anxiety, and fear. So even when I got back here and I inhaled the poutine, I took a moment and I wrote to Jody and Lauren, who are part of my venting group, went, okay, I just need to vent quickly. And, I was still so angry that I couldn't even vent properly. I said, just want to tell you, but I can't talk about it yet. And I had to wait, maybe half an hour, Jody, before I could even start venting about it because it was overwhelming. And so to me, it's just like, it's good. You need to know that you can take the time to do that. And people who care about you will give you the time to do that. And how about this? Do your best to adopt a whatever happens, happens mindset. Don't try and force things. Just let go and allow right blessings to flow. So what I did was I wrote to the guy and about the shower head thing. And I said, okay, this is what I wanted. This is what I've got. Can you come up with some options for me now? Because I realize they've already, gone through the tile work. And I don't want them necessarily to have to make new inroads into the tile. The question is, what can they give me that is close to what I wanted? Yes, and Jody is saying that both Lauren and myself let her vent, but we don't judge. Well, actually, Jody, you have no idea how much I judge you. No, but that's right, because you don't need anything other than to let it go, and you need to do that. It's as you know, it's really healthy. Malcolm X said this. He said, for one to control one's thoughts and feelings means one can actually control one's atmosphere and all who walk into its sphere of influence. All right? I would like to be able to think when the insurance people and the renovation people, when they think of me, if they ever do in the future, that they will think of me fondly. And that they admire me for we already know they admire my stress management on the day of the fire. And by the way, I had another discussion with the adjuster about that. Did he for a moment think I had caused the fire or whatever? And, it was interesting because of the way in which I was handling it. And he said, quite honestly, he said for a split second, I thought that was an unusual way to handle a devastating fire. But he said it didn't take very long to realize that was just part of your character. That's your stress management, is to be able to see the humor. And he said, I've been in the business long enough to be able to spot that. He said literally, the very first second, and you might think it, but he said, as soon as I got onto a roll with you, I realized almost every line you came up with was funny. And that takes a certain personality that can do that. And he said, what a pleasure to deal with somebody that can manage stress that way. How about that? What a pleasure to deal with somebody who can manage stress that way. And I said, thank you for that compliment. And the same thing as, I went through that whole list of 64 pages and diligently went through the whole thing and did what I thought was the work that needed to be done. And he said to me, boy, there are not many people that would have done that the way that you did. I wasn't trying to win a bonus prize anywhere. What I was trying to find out was what was the value of what I lost. I needed to know what was the value, and that took time. And when it takes time, I've got to let something else go, like the seedlings didn't do well this week, right? And I need to let that go. Go buy seedlings this year if I have to. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. I think I'll give myself a 3 out of 5 for that this today. When I go to bed at night, I go, how did I do today? On that one, I would probably give myself a 3.5. And definitely not a 5 out of 5 on not allowing other people to control my emotions. I did have that moment. It's okay. I'm human. You heard a lot recently on the term of gaslighting, and it said a gaslighter avoids responsibility for their toxic behavior by lying and denying and making you question facts, your memory, and your feelings. I am pretty certain that there are going to be people saying, well, I didn't write the email clearly enough, or, there'll be all sorts of reasons why people have made mistakes. That's okay. I just need it fixed. And if they say, well, you're going to have to pay extra, and I go, well, can you, quite honestly, explain to me why. And if I agree with you, I will pay extra. How about this one? Rick Warren said this: maturity is when you live your life by your commitments, not by your feelings. How many of you know it would be my number one wish that next Friday I get to do the broadcast? I can't make a commitment because I don't know if the equipment will work. But it'll be high on my list. It'll be higher than tidying up for, those hours. But I'm not going to promise you because I don't know. And so how many of you can see that by virtue of what has happened to me today, I have had to be pretty flexible about my thinking. I have had to feel the feelings and then go, whoops, well, those feelings are not going to help me at all. What's the next step? What do I need to do? And number one, get under control. Then tell people what you need fixed and let them fix it. By the way, I do it in writing so that I can go back and go, that's interesting, because on March 19 at 3:45, I actually wrote to you and asked for these things to be fixed. Right? I've got a paper trail to go back to. Well, Jody, I am hoping, Jody's saying we can all learn from your example. But I'm hoping you will all learn from the fact that being rude to people doesn't make them want to help you particularly. It might get you some action, but it doesn't make them want to give you over and above. I would prefer that somebody thinks, that wasn't fair what happened to Sal, so we'll not only give her the right, equipment that she needs, but we'll make it even better than she's expecting. Some people do that too, I believe there are good people in the world as well as bad. I've already experienced that, by the way, from the insurance guy, where, I costed something in all honesty, and he said to me, okay, well, so we're saying that's worth about $500. And I said, no, actually, I thought it was worth about 300. And he said, fine, so we will say that was worth about $500. In other words, he had room for it to be worth $500 on his side. So why did I just not shut up and let him do that? And I just went, well, now that you mention that, I guess it could be. Some people are looking after my best interests, even if you don't think they are. I believe some people are. How about this one? Don't be too confident when somebody tells you they like you. The real question is, until when? Because just like seasons, people change, and so do their feelings. And I've had that happen, where somebody I thought I would be friends with for the rest of my life, I had to let them go. But I also have said to them, hey, I hope you know that if ever you really needed help again, I'd still be there. I just don't choose to be your day-to-day friend anymore. And here you go. Self-control refers to controlling one's emotions and feelings and not losing one's cool, even in the worst of situations. I am hoping that the next week I will be able to keep control. It is the big exam, if you like. Can I practice what I talk about every week? By the way, I don't have to be perfect. Do you understand that? It's not my need to be perfect. It's just like when I go to bed at night, can I say I did pretty well, considering my heart drop, did I do pretty well? And did I forgive myself for eating poutine when it probably isn't the most healthy thing? Yeah, I can forgive myself for that. So people, life happens. I knew from the get-go that what I was going to experience in the next week was going to be difficult. Life. Everybody's rushing to get everything finished at the last moment. There are going to be horrible mistakes made. Do you think it is possible that when they put everything back that belongs to me, something else is going to get broken, chipped, or ruined? What do you think? What are the chances of that accidentally happening? Not that they got up in the morning and thought, you know what we'll do when we're taking Sal's furniture back, we'll just intentionally hit that corner and mess it up for her. You remember when I moved, the one of my tables got drenched. I had this beautiful triangular table that got broken. And I don't believe anybody meant to do it, but it did happen. So I think about it, is it possible that something that I own is going to get scratched or damaged in some way as they're putting everything back in? Yep, I think it's very likely. But that's being prepared, not scared, right? I need to be prepared for that to happen. And by the way, do I have insurance against that? Or do they, I'll just need to go, whose insurance covers this, right? Is it mine or yours? Because it's really, that's what you get insurance for. And I look at it and say, thank you, guys. This has been a time in my life where I have probably asked for more help than I have ever done in my life on so many different levels. And it's not about that I am weak or not aware. It is sometimes it's okay to say, hey, what do you think? But I also know, from my very core, I know that asking for people's advice doesn't mean I have to take it. I ask for people's input and advice because I want to know what hadn't I thought of. And quite often when people give me their advice, I will say, thank you so much for your input. You do know I won't necessarily do what you've said, but I needed to make sure I'd covered all the bases. And so that is a really important thing, so that people know that even though you asked for input, you end up with the final decision. It's your decision to make, not somebody else's. Not somebody else's, right? I kept hearing from somebody, well, you want to get so-and-so in because they're really good on decor and stuff. Now, what they didn't realize they were saying is they didn't think that I was. But it's my house. I get to choose what I want in there. And I don't care if it doesn't win Architect Digest, Award of the Year. It's like, will I be happy with it? And if the answer is yes, that's okay. I am the one that needs to be happy. Hi, lovely Heart 88. Good to meet you. You've been hiding in the corner there, and I only saw you right at the end. So thank you for being here. I'm hoping that some of you learned something from today. And if so, what was the aha moment for you? Let me know. And my question to you is it helping when I talk about these real life things that are happening to me? Because my reality is I am just a human being living a normal life. I am not somebody special. I just happen to talk about what happens to me. And I believe if we talk about what happens more often, that more people will understand. We all go through moments of having to cope with life, and it doesn't go well all of the time. But it doesn't mean we have to curl up into a ball and cry and stomp our feet and it's not fair and become a victim. It is about, can I still have a smile on my face even though this is happening? You remember when I walked into the house and it was the wrong paint color? This was like, yeah, that's a bit dark. That is not what I intended at all. And by the way, did I write an email about that? Yes, I did. Thank goodness. And then all I did is, could you please remind the contractor of my email of, wherein we agreed that it would be a lighter color and this was the color and he would do it when he went back. That was his reply on this date. Lovely Hearts 88 says, I tuned in and found what you said so relevant to current moments in my life. Wow. I cannot think of a better reason to do another broadcast. So everybody, hang in there. Life sucks sometimes. Things do not go the way you want it to. And remember, even though you ordered up the fancy, beautiful rain shower, some other bozo is going to put in the cheapest thing they can find. It's going to happen. That's what life does. And what tells people about you is how do you react to it? Do you throw a hissy fit, or do you just go, this wasn't quite what we had planned? And I refer you back to my email of such and such a date. And can you see what you can do about it for me? Whole different way of dealing with it. It really helps, Isabel. I am glad to hear that, because, I must admit, as I was driving around today, I go, I wonder if this is helping anybody. And Sandy is saying, thanks, Sal. Listening to you deal with these are lessons we all need to learn. Well, honey, I'm practicing too. You do know that, right? Please remember, I am just another human being, the same as you. I'm just living life the best I can every day. And by the way, I have now done 140 days, I think, of serious exercise. And my weight still isn't dropping. How many of you would quit and go, well, it's not worth doing it? I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting it until I get the result I want. It might not come quickly, people, but I don't quit on me. That's not what I'm going to do. And so if you happen to see that you're going, wow, she's done 3 marathons in 3 weeks. She's nearly done her 4th in 4 weeks. And how come she hasn't lost 10 pounds? I have no idea. I have no idea. But I haven't. And I'm not eating total crud every day. Well, today wasn't so good, but something? I know I'm doing the right thing. Somewhere along the line, it's going to start working. And so Jody's saying, I appreciate you all so much, and thank you for being part of our extended family. I hope you know that the need side of it rotates. I'm going to be a much better person this week knowing that you are there supporting me in some way. I will hear you going, Sal, it's time for more poutine if you need it. I will hear that message. Or I will hear somebody else say, how about you stop for a moment, turn on the television and just start walking so you can get your mind off things. I will hear you say that to me because that's what I'd be telling you. So here you go, people. Make the choices you have to. And by the way, I brought everything back and put it straight in the deep freezer can. What can I do? That's all I can do. I don't know how, I may have to start throwing things away because I might not have room to take it. I checked my other freezer and the second freezer at home is totally full. And so therefore, if they don't get that freezer cleaned and working again pretty quickly, I'm going to have to start throwing stuff away. But if I have to do that, guess what? I will claim it. All right? And I will take pictures of it and go, this stuff I couldn't fit into the fridge because the freezer wasn't working yet. They've had 6 months to get that freezer. Actually, they haven't. The freezer only went out last week. But, it's just like, this is not my problem. I didn't create it. You did. So, we will sort this out between us. I'm going to go and get some walking in and get some food inside me and pack a little bit before I go to bed. That's my whole routine, is get a little bit of packing done every day. I've packed up all my most of my painting stuff now. That was on my list yesterday. And so I'm just every day, I'm learning not to close the boxes, people. Because I've had to rip them open. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much for understanding. This is not easy stuff. And thank you so much for caring enough to be here to support me. I really, really love you for that. Remember to look after one another, but like me, and please, 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 remember to look after yourself because life is challenging. Sandy, get that fasting done on Monday and try again. I loved your story, by the way. It was so awesome. We can do this together. We are not perfect people, but we are learning how to do this and honor ourselves a lot better. Look after yourselves. I'm going to go and look after me. Bye-bye for now.